Hi and welcome to my video blog. I'm now going to be producing videos rather than written articles, only because I don't have time and also because these incidents and situations seem to be occurring with a regular frequency. That doesn't give me much of a time to give you my thoughts, ideas, or even suggestions. So I want to talk about Parsons Green. We're a week on from this incident, and I think what we've seen is incredible progress by our authorities in apprehending 6 people, 2 of which have been released in the last 24 hours, that are allegedly connected to this particular plot. This was a plot, this was an incident, it was terrorist related, but I don't think Parsons Green was the intended objective. It doesn't fit within the publicity savvy profile of the modern day jihadist or extremist who are looking for something far more iconic. And there were a number of other stations along that district line that the train was intending to visit that would have certainly fitted into that international profile that regardless of whether you turned your TV on in Hong Kong, Mumbai or New York, that you would probably better understand and recognize than perhaps a little West London Fulham tube station. The incident, although not an attack, still was pretty devastating, especially for those that were involved. 30 people were injured, and all of those people will have had life-changing incidents, as well as many of the others that weren't even physically injured, perhaps, on the train, in so much as all of them, no doubt, will have some sort of psychological impact and trauma from having experienced that situation. And we mustn't forget that in a terrorist attack, it isn't those that just simply die or are simply physically injured. It is those that have experienced it or were around it that may have a lot of post-traumatic stress for many years to come. And if you were in this incident and you are watching this, or you know someone that was, give them support or go and seek some assistance just to iron out whether you can cope with this issue and you need some support or help. And there's no harm in getting that if you need to. What we do know is that in terms of modern day terrorism, these particular individuals, of the little information that has been released, do fit into the most common demographic that we're beginning to see, and that is of those in their late teens and in their 20s. The 4 individuals that are still held on Parsons Green fit within that profile of 17 years to 30 years. What we may also find out is that these individuals, and I think there's a good likelihood, were also involved in some degree or another in low-level criminality, whether that be in drugs, theft, or assault. Again, we're seeing this as a commonality, if you like, within individuals that perpetrate these terrorist attacks, which the authorities hopefully are taking and utilizing within their counter-radicalization processes, because it seems to be this generational void that is most susceptible to this kind of radicalization. What I do want to leave you with is the fact that we are accepting, unfortunately, that terrorism plays an everyday part in our lives, whether it be direct or whether it be something that we need to be precautious of. But we do also need to be pragmatic. And I do want to give you the statistics that, for example, in the last 17 years, between 2000 and 2017, there have been 126 fatalities from terrorism here in the UK. Now, that sounds an awful lot, but when you put it into perspective against the previous 15 years, from 1985 to 1999, there were over 1,000 people that were killed from terrorism, most of which was perpetrated by the Provisional IRA. Now, the terrorists today, one might say, okay, they're less effective or less efficient, but no, they're highly efficient. We've got to remember with terrorism, it's not so much about the physical harm, but it's about the perceived threat that we all potentially feel and could possibly face. And we just need to bear this in mind. So the one thing I want to leave you with, and I'm going to cover at greater length in another blog post, is about what we can do to keep ourselves safe. And we need to be situationally aware, and we need to contribute to the counter-terrorism solution. And every grain and little report of intelligence is going to help the authorities. And if you see something or someone or a package that you feel concerned about, and it could be just an instinctive feeling, don't think about it, report it. Call the anti-terrorism hotline. It may be something, it could be nothing, but that little piece of information could fit into the larger jigsaw piece of intelligence that the authorities are working on. Thank you for listening.